know, it looks like you're wearing a hat, but
Well, am I going to wear the hat?
that's entirely up to you. Are you going to wear a hat?
I think I look better in the hat than without the hat.
I think you look better without the hat than you do with the hat, but it's just because I made you. That's horrible no matter what we do with it.
You sure you don't want me to wear the hat?
You could demonstrate the hat on.
By wearing the hat.
You could put the hat on.
You want me to wear the hat?
Well, I think
It's a yes or no. Am I wearing the hat?
generally cultures recognize that wearing a hat is a sign of disrespect unless you're in blowing snow. As a modeling, it's very nice, but as a hi, how are you, generally people remove their hat unless they are in blowing snow or sub-zero temperatures.
So I'm not wearing the hat.
I think it would be very nice if you put the hat on at some point while you were discussing the hat to model the completed hat. If you choose to wear it beyond that point, you're still modeling it. But I think introducing with the hat on and not having blowing snow would be considered slightly...
So I can put it on in the middle of it and then keep wearing the hat.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's hope that comes soon.
Well, very soon because we've already started.
Oh, really? Well, that's awkward.
Hello and welcome to my studio. I'm Jessie and this is the Knit Up and Dye podcast, episode 40, Corny Superhero Movie Sequels. Thank you to all my subscribers and welcome new subscribers. As always, this is about you. Like, subscribe, message me, tell me what you like, what you don't like. Please be kind. And let me make this what you're looking for. Hello, warm hellos and love as always go out to, I have my cheat sheet, Betty Ann, Donna, Scott and John, Cricket, Eve, Nancy and Rachel. Hi guys, love y'all. We're going to reintroduce, I have a guest host. My guest host is my son Sam. Sam is visiting this week and we're videoing a little bit quicker than we normally do. Generally, I film weekly so that you have weekly episodes, and because of the timing of his visit, we filmed last Monday, and today is Friday, but we've got a lot to show you, so it's kind of exciting. But we did want to get another episode with Sam in before he left, so here we are. Moving on. The week in review. It hasn't even quite been a week, but things got done. We've spent a lot of time doing a lot of different things, but we did have a lot of knitting time as well. I love being off of work. This whole work thing really gets in the way of my knitting. And being able to just have a clean head that doesn't have all the other anxieties and garbage in it, to sit down and really just enjoy and unwind and knit has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed it. So, I said I got a lot done. I don't know that I truly honestly did. My How to Eat an Elephant blanket is marching forward. Not a lot of progress in the past 4 days, but I did get 2 more squares done. So this is the last row that I need to complete in order to be fully at 25% done. I have 6 squares left to go. I have these 6 complete, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. 6 more squares. I think I can get that done before I go back to work. I hope, maybe, if I can get off of all the other projects that I'm woefully addicted to. Also, so if you've been following along, you know about my sweater curse, my sweater saga. I had this idea in my head that I wanted to knit a fingering weight sweater, and it still sounds psychotic to me. I really kind of can't believe that I'm going to make an entire garment out of sock weight yarn, but I'm going to. I had picked out a pattern that I really love, and it is the Tegan sweater by Justina Lorkowska. And I love it. I am going to knit it eventually. The pattern calls for fingering according to Ravelry. The yarn that she used had been made, I believe, by her husband. They have it classified as fingering. When I actually do the math, and when I look at the other projects that have been completed, and when I look at the fabric that's photographed in the sample that she has, it's clearly not. It's a sport weight yarn. And to successfully do that and to get the fabric, because I love the fabric of the sweater, I'm going to wait and I'm going to do sport weight yarn and I'm going to do it right. Which means I have skeins, plural, of my BFL base that I dyed up in the yarn that I wanted to use, and this is my heirloom tomato colorway. I love it. I love this yarn. It is a fingering weight, and I do want a sweater from it. So I got on Ravelry and I dug through all my other favorites and I found a favorite and I purchased it and I downloaded it. And so my fingering weight sweater is going to be Jen by Josie Paquin. I've done one of Josie's sweaters before. I did her Lori sweater. And I really like her style. I like how she writes. I like her construction. It is in the round, seamless, top down. That sounds like happiness to me. This one has some options. You can do a 3/4 sleeve. You can do a longer tunic length. She even has instructions in there to add stripes, as you can see in her pictures here. I'm going to do a longer, the more tunic-y length, single color with full sleeves, I believe. We'll get further in. So far, I really like it. The instructions are clear. There's a couple places where it could be identified a little bit differently, but nothing that if you read ahead and follow her instructions is going to be derailing. I have sections that are slashed out with the word no next to them because those instructions are not appropriate to the size I'm working. But I'm not seeing anything here that's going to cause me great distress, except I did a gauge swatch, and I did a gauge swatch when I had the Tegan sweater in mind. And gauge swatch is lovely. I'm able to measure it. I trust that I'm using the same needles, I'm using the same yarn. I've only changed the pattern. The pattern requires gauge and stockinette. Shouldn't be a problem. And I've started the sweater. I like the sweater. I like the pattern. However, I'm getting the gauge anxiety. If I measure the gauge of the swatch, it seems to be dead on. And that's the wash, dry, laying flat, measure it, it's what I want. If I hold it up and allow some gravity into it, it changes measurements considerably, and this is stressing me out. When I actually look at the piece of fabric that I've created and I measure, I know I'm measuring gauge on the needle. I should walk away from this measuring thing. I should just walk away, and it is what it is. It's supposed to be a big, loose V-neck sweater. It's what I want. I just want something drapey, loose, casual, comfortable. Well, if I measure the gauge swatch one way, it's going to have 1 inch of negative ease. And if I measure the gauge swatch another way, like if I look at it sideways, or I look at it dead, I think it depends on my attitude when I look at it. It's going to have 7 inches of positive ease. How I'm getting an 8-inch discrepancy measuring just a swatch or what's currently on the needles, I'm not entirely sure. I understand wholly that gauge swatches are damn dirty liars. They are liars, they are cheats, they are horrible. And this is part of my sweater curse, is the size I have chosen is perfect for me. The gauge swatch came out right. I need to stop looking at it. I need to knit the garment and get to a point where I can try it on. It's top down. I should be able to get to just under the bust line, try it on, and at that point either sacrifice it to the yarn gods and start over, or realize everything is fine. But every time I look at it, I stress myself out because, like I said, I've got like an 8-inch variance in the overall garment circumference, and I can't make sense of that. So that's my stress for the week. The sweater is coming along beautifully. Like I said, I have cast on the collar per her instructions. Let's take these horrible pins out. And it is knit back and forth, increasing. It's going to be a raglan style, which is a little bit scary, but we're trying this. And I have made really quite decent progress. That's from the neck down. I've got probably 5 inches on. And I'm loving the yarn and the colors that I'm getting. I think it's just stunning. I am working 2 skeins at once just to be absolutely sure that it keeps that indie hand-dyed look without pooling at all. And I'm honestly not seeing any real pooling or flashing at this point. But I'm also increasing. And so the magic number is constantly shifting. Once we get to a stable point in the body of the sweater where we're just knitting straight, it could start pulling and flashing. So instead of working to that point and then starting to work 2 skeins at once, I'm just working 2 skeins at once from the start. And we'll go from there. Very happy with it so far, if only because I'm joyfully knitting and feel like I'm accomplishing something, and I love the yarn. When I get a little bit further and discover that it is truly 1 inch of negative ease or truly 7 inches of positive ease, we'll see what my happiness meter is at that point. These things terrify me. This is why I don't knit sweaters. Really. Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the size of the yarn, because with a drapier, more open fabric, those stitches can morph and move around, and the washed, dried, laid flat is all well and fine and measurable, but you're not washed, dried, and laying flat when you wear it. You're up and you're moving around, and so I know it's going to open up, and that's where my concern comes from, is that the wash, dried, laid flat perfection is going to stretch and drape and ease into tent. So I'm a little concerned about that. Whereas I think when I did my sweater before and it was in the worsted weights or the DK weights, there wasn't as much of that movement. It was a much firmer fabric. It was only going to drape longer. It was only going to open up so much, and this is just much loosier-goosier, so giving me anxiety. Anyway, also, since I've been knitting crazy at every chance I get, this is my progress on the Wildly Addicted to You sample that I'm knitting for the new upcoming pattern. And I think when you saw it last, it was about that long, probably, yeah, I think we were...
Maybe a little less.
Maybe a little less. And I've almost doubled that. So I've got this wonderful long rickrack scarf happening. And I'm excited about what it's going to do and the progress it's making. I love the color. I love the yarns that I'm working with. I have a Malabrigo fingering weight in their Solace color, which is a beautiful teal blue green. That particular yarn is, it's Superwash Merino. It's 100 grams, 440 yards of just Superwash Merino in this beautiful, beautiful green. Let me hold that up for you guys. I love it. And then I have a skein of my Tap Monkey in Sunday Funnies. And this is that yarn that I demonstrated for you guys, that I demonstrated the scribble technique, where I just randomly splash yarn, dyes all over the yarn, and it does this wonderful wild color. And I'm holding them together, 2 together, in the third of my Addicted to You series patterns. Oh, where was that?
Under the card.
Oh, for Pete's sake. We spent the better part of 20 minutes looking for a stitch marker. A fluorescent green stitch marker. He just found it. Basically under our noses. Anyway, so progress is happening here. I'm very excited about it, and this is one of the patterns that will be coming up for test knit in the near future. That is it for me and my progress and what I've done this week. What about you?
Last time I showed anything, I was working on the Peaks and Pints hat, which was a Die Monkey yarn, Salsa Monkey base. It is 100% merino, 100 grams over 218 yards. The color is Don't Blink, and it is available exclusively at Unwound in La Crosse, Wisconsin, opening August 1st. And this is the finished product. We just finished that this morning with the Die Monkey yarn tag on it, so that's pretty cool. Just finished it, so I love this hat. It fits really well on me. And that is the yarn colorway. And I'm working on the second one right now because it's a 2-pair hat. Just started that. Like I said, it's Peaks and Pints, it's online, probably on Ravelry, I would assume. It's that one with simple chart. I don't know, I love the hat. I think it's a really fun beginner hat that has a lot of cool patterns in it. Obviously, it's a pretty awesome hat. Do we have the original around here? Probably not.
Yes.
Nice. So, you know, compared to the test knits and stuff, same thing. I think it looks pretty cool. The colorway is pretty awesome. Fits really well with the hat. Causes some really interesting changes. But,
And will you be doing the braid on the top? Are you going to leave it finished as you have it now?
I am doing a palm on the top because I think that would look pretty good with it. I'm not a huge fan of the single braid, but I think a palm would be really good for me. It fits me better than the braid, so that'll be fun to do.
We'll have to create a palm.
Yeah. But that is all that's left for this hat, and I'm already started on the second one, so that's exciting.
And you have a future project coming up?
I do. I have, it's from Rib Magazine, the second edition Navigator. Is it? Yeah. I can't see it.
Navigate.
Yeah. That's the, right there, that's the picture of it. It's going to be a little challenging for me because that is going to be the on my own project of this coming year, and I expect for it to take a long time as there is a lot of stuff to do.
What's the pattern called?
Very excited for that. It is called the Direction Mitts by Maria Muscarella. That was it. Am I saying that yarn or the one that I have?
No, show the yarn that you're going to do it in.
So, we went out and got this. I love the color. It's a very good emerald. Let's see if I can find the...
So he is going to be doing the Direction Mitts in Lion's Pride wool spun. It's a Lion brand yarn. This particular yarn is 80% acrylic and 20% wool blend, so it's still very, very warm. And it is a bulky weight. Let me bring this up for you. Like he said, in this gorgeous emerald block. My face, here we go. And let's see.
It is 100 grams over 127 yards per skein.
Perfect. I think these are going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, these are...
And squishy and warm.
I'm very excited for these. It's going to be really awesome.
And I think someday I'm going to be able to read the symbols on these labels and know what they mean. I suspect this is wash and dry. Because it doesn't have a hand in it, so I think that means you can use it in the washing machine. I know that one's the dryer.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe. Don't iron. Free parking.
I don't think you're supposed to iron anything, but...
I know that ironing will melt acrylic unless you've got like a towel between. So anyway, there's a bunch of symbols there which I think are quite hysterical because one of them looks like free parking. and certainly we'll look that up and we'll get you that information so you know whether or not they can go in the laundry. But I like that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to knit with this yarn. It's a very fun, bouncy yarn. So another thing that I have completed, and this we spent all day yesterday doing, a little under 7 hours doing, we did project bags, which this is the first and biggest one that we did. And the cool thing about these is that they're drawstring. They have some cool designs on them, and they are all completely reversible. So we went out and chose the fabric for each of them. They are all completely reversible bags with a lot of room. So here's the second biggest one, with more inside of it. So this one is that one, very patchworked one, because we were running out of fabric at that point.
Oh, we were using up all the scraps.
This was the scrap bag. It really was. And this was the smallest one, which is really a stitch marker and other various knitting needs bag that already has some things in it. And again, they're all completely reversible, all of them.
I love that one. I think that one is so cute.
But yeah, we spent a long time doing that, and I'm very happy with the results because I have a lot of project bags of various sizes.
Now, you sewed most of them by yourself.
I did. I sewed. Where did the big one go? I have no idea. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I did the sewing for the majority of them, including adding on some pretty fancy designs in it. So that was really fun.
Just the
Basic,
decorative edge stitch.
Yeah. But yeah, sewing was a whole new adventure.
Had you ever used a sewing machine before?
No, that was the first time I've ever sewn anything, and we got some pretty cool bags out of it. So
cool. Oh, good. Those will go to good use then, huh? Awesome.
First time sewing, and we did it for about 6 hours. This was the final thing that we made. Well, I didn't sew this one. This was beyond my skill.
Sorry, I'm trying to block my face so you can see it so it focuses.
We just took a bunch of the fabrics, and well, again, I didn't do any of this. This was not me.
Sam acquired a number of new tools while he was here. He is receiving a boy interchangeable needle set, and he needed some DPNs in order to finish projects like the mitts that are upcoming. He's going to need DPNs for that, and for the top of his hat he needed some DPNs. So we acquired some DPNs and
Let's see if I can show this without spilling them everywhere.
and a needle measuring, one of the Susan Bates metal plates that helps you measure size your needles, needle sizer, that's the word I was looking for, as well as a gauge ruler on that. So he's got his own little toolkit, as well as a crochet hook by which he can save his stitches if he drops any stitches.
Again.
You did really well. How many stitches did you drop? 2? The entire project?
The scarf?
No,
Oh.
on the hat.
On the hat, 1.
Yeah,
I only
so you
dropped
didn't do bad
one.
at all.
And even then I caught it myself, because
Yeah.
it dropped one row, so.
Hardly a problem. So with the acquisition of new tools, we needed new tool holders. The project bags, of course, are for projects, with the little mini bags for smaller notions, but to have a needle case to put his stuff in, his DPNs, was important to give it a home.
And it all folds in a really small, compact thing, which is awesome because it fits, all the stuff fits all together in the same bag. All the bags condense into one. So that's pretty cool. So it's really a gigantic travel case bag holder.
I gotta tell you, I love your outfit. You look kind of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Psychotic. Where's Waldo? We got
Yeah.
plaids and stripes going on here. It's I need more coffee.
I think it's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. Now you had a lot of different needles that you used during your hat project.
Yep. Well, yeah, the interchangeable set's over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I went from using the,
Let's see, you had the boy interchangeables.
which are these ones, to Haya fixed circular.
Yep.
And loops and threads DPNs. Which I just finished with the DPNs. These are the boys interchangeable ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I wanted to mention that this was kind of a challenging but fun thing to do, switching between different needles. Because it was really interesting to see the different tooth of the needle and the different grips and what I had to do with it.
He's got vocabulary. I love it.
Because going from the Haya fixed circulars back to DPNs, which the Hayas were very speed and, slippery so that it was easier to move stitches, to more gritty, having to really work for the stitch needles. I just thought it was really interesting to see the change, but these are, I would say, the same tooth and grit as the DPNs, and it's still, it's hard to get used to at first. Like, I think switching from any needle to another needle can be hard to get used to if you're not already accustomed to it, but it's not something to give up with. I think it's just getting back used to it, and it makes it kind of fun to switch between them and see what happens. So,
Now, did you find that going from the really slick Haya to the toothy DPNs, especially when you were reducing, I mean, at first when you went from the circular to multiple DPNs, you were like octopus, there was needles everywhere, but did the tooth help you organize that? Did it help you keep everything together?
it definitely stopped stitches from falling off.
There's a good, I mean, I actually like when I'm doing a hat, moving from my slick high speed needle when I'm getting down into the closing, when I start to reduce stitches. I like going to a toothy needle because it just gives me a sense of security that nothing's falling away or that I'm not dropping anything.
Yeah, I definitely felt the security boost, but I was kind of feeling the speed reduction
Yeah.
way more, because I was going a row every 5 to 10 minutes to a row every 20 minutes.
But I also think that was part of the octopus, though.
Yeah, that might have been.
Yeah, we need to look at how to better split the stitches out over the DPNs for you so that you're not having to move so many stitches. So when Sam was working the crown of the hat, he moved from a circular needle. Once it got uncomfortable because there were too few stitches for the circular needle, down to multiple DPNs. And when you get down to the multiple DPNs, we didn't stop and look at where are the decreases happening so that we could put the stitches on the deep ends in such a way that a decrease wasn't split over a couple of different needles. So he had to do some sliding around to get 2 stitches together in order to do a decrease at any given time. And I think that was time consumptive.
I think the most time consumptive part of that was because of the decreases at the specific intervals it has. I was comfortable over 2 or 3 rows where I didn't have to slip anything over any needle, and then 1 or 2 rows after that I had to because of the changing amount of stitches that were on the needle. So I think that was the most...
Does the interval change, or is it just multiple intervals?
Interval change.
Okay.
Because it goes from
Because you get
24 to 22 to 20, and it goes down by 2s
okay.
for every row.
I forgot how much I love the top of this hat.
It is a really
It is a cool looking hat.
starfish type of decrease hat. It was really fun to do.
See if I can hold that up so you guys can see it. It looks kind of funny because the way I'm going to hold it up, the braid's going to look like a nose. But it's got these columns that all come in a star fashion to the center.
And all of those columns branch from the very peaks, the very ending peaks of
Yeah, the peak of the texture, you're right.
So it all matches together to come up to one point. It creates this really cool pattern.
The designer's quite clever, huh?
Yeah.
Have you ever made anything and then gone back at it and been like, oh, hey, that's really cool? This is one of my designs, and when you do a lot of design work, you finish it and you have knit it 2 or 3 times, and you have your test knitters, and then you put it out into the world, and it's just there, especially with Ravelry. The pattern's just loaded to Ravelry, and you're moving on, you're designing other stuff, and you don't necessarily go back and revisit your patterns. And so this has been really good for me to go back and revisit this design and see what I love about it, what I'm not particularly thrilled with about it. And it just, honestly, it's been a creative jumping off point, because now I'm looking at this and thinking of other design ideas and elements that I would keep, elements that I would definitely do again in another design, and I'm quite tickled. And I'm sure you think I'm quite psychotic. So, cool. What else have you got going on there?
I don't think I have much other than finishing the hats and doing the palms.
Now, we bought eyes.
Yeah. Should I be grabbing one of the things from over there, or?
Yeah, show us what you've got planned here.
Well, just for ease of access, right now we have a bunch of little eyes in bags. For if I get done the direction mitts soon, planning to have other projects, which,
He's bringing over his entire acquisition. There were acquisitions this week.
yeah, we went yarn shopping, and we got a lot of yarn.
But some of it is, let's see, we got your mitt yarn.
And a good amount is just bonus projects and tie-ups and things like that.
He has a stash.
But this is the yarn that I really want to work with, because it really is an interesting type of yarn.
I think it's gorgeous. I love the colors.
If you want to read the stuff so that I can actually...
So we, Sam chose a skein of the Red Heart Soft, which has a lovely sheen to it. It's really, it has a lovely sheen to it. You can't say much more about that. It is 100% acrylic. It is a worsted weight. This particular one is one of their fundraisers. It supports the Red Cross of North America. It is 113 grams, 204 yards. Yeah, they're calling that worsted, okay? And it's this beautiful, I'm not sure what's going to happen with it when it's knit up. It might stripe. I don't know that it's a true variegated. It but it has these beautiful teals, and it's got some driftwoody gray and some vibrant teal and some browns in it. It's really, honestly, I'm quite jealous. I would love to kind of duplicate those colors in another colorway. I think it's beautiful. And you have plans for this.
I do. When I get done the direction, that's which hopefully will be soon, because I really want to do this project.
Now, I'm going to ask right there. So you're doing a project and getting it all the way complete and then starting another project?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that I can handle two at once.
Okay. I just wondered if you had a reason for that, or if it was...
I think I want to focus on one before I think that I can do multiple.
Okay.
Just because of my time schedule and all that stuff.
I don't know that I could work on just one unless I was like really fixated on it. I have to jump around. But in jumping around, I've had problems happen where one of my scarves that I was working on, I was jumping back and forth between my How to Eat an Elephant blanket and this scarf. And the How to Eat an Elephant blanket, you slip the first stitch of every row, but you don't do that on the scarf. And I get all relaxed and I just start, because it's garter stitch, I just start working on it. Next thing I know, I've got all these slips that aren't supposed to be there, and then I have to go and fix them. So yeah, I see your point.
I know I'm prone to that sort of mistake, so I don't think I'm going to do that.
But the future project is?
From the book The Knitted Odd Bod Bunch by Donna Wilson. I want to do that one. The owl right there. Obviously it's going to have some different colors to more match me. And I don't know if I'm doing the specific style and pattern and color changes on it because of this yarn. We have a few that could work with it. For example, I think these two would go really well, but she seems to think otherwise.
Oh no, I like them.
But
I love the dark teal with that. I think the brown might get the gray might get a little lost, but I love the teal with that.
We have a couple of different things to go with that, but I'm really excited to do that owl. So the pattern has it has some color work in it, right? Yeah, it has some more complicated than I've worked with before color changes. So
now your color changes before have been row for row.
Those are the color changes in it. It's very pink and then red for 2 stitches and then pink for 2 stitches and then red for 2 stitches and ooh. Yeah, I've done row for row before over many different rows.
But certainly you could knit him with just stripes on his chest.
Yeah.
Or you could do out his wings in the teal or the gray and have his body be the cool stripe.
I'm confident that I could do the color work in this because I know how to do color works now and I'm, more accustomed to it, but I just don't think that's what I want the style of it to be. I kind of want to make it my own owl. So
I love it. Make it your own. Make it what gives you joy. Cool. All right. So why did I name this episode the Corny Superhero Movie Sequels?
Because we couldn't find a name otherwise.
We were trying to figure out what to call this episode, and guest host 2 just didn't sound all that appealing, and
guest host the return was
also kind of corny.
So I made a remark of just name it something like a superhero movie's corny sequel names. So
and I might have cheekily just typed that in. Cool. Thank you so much for joining me doing this. I really appreciate it. I've had fun doing this with you.
It was really fun. So.
And you've gotten to see a number of other podcasts while you were here.
I did. I have a lot of favorites, actually. Pretty much every one I've seen.
Well, let's see. Who have you watched? You get to watch Nathan Taylor, and you've seen a couple of his patterns, because you saw in rib issue 1, he had the stalactite scarf.
And his current socks that he's doing at the time right now.
Oh, yeah. His twisted soul socks, those are...
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar, Nathan Taylor is known as the Sockmatician online, and he has recently done a 2-color sock design that he's calling, I think, Twisted Souls. And it has a lot of Bavarian twisted stitches in it, and true to Nathan, he did it as a mystery knit-along. And he started, because he wanted to keep it a mystery, he didn't want to just have a pattern and have that pattern go through so you could just finish the sock without following through the clues. And so he started with one pattern and morphed it into another pattern and then brought in other colors and... Yeah,
I can't.
exactly.
It's really hard to comprehend.
It's beautiful, beautiful, intricate work, and he is on my list of people I would love to sit down and have lunch with and just pick his brain and look at how he thinks, because I'm fascinated by it, and so much of my design work is angled to I want it to be fun, number one. The pattern should be fun. Number 2, it should not be complicated. It should be something that anybody can achieve and have a sense of achievement from. And number 3, should be something that I can readily, clearly communicate. And I look at his stuff and I am so impressed that he takes something so complex
And just makes it more complex.
and makes it more complex and still is able to communicate this in a way that people are just knocking them out. They're accomplishing them left and right. I know that Nathan was very poorly for a number of weeks. He actually was quite sick and has bounced back beautifully. Cheers, Nathan. And he, in the time that he was down, he still managed to get the mystery clues out. And there are so many people that completed beautiful socks, and he's got by now I'm sure he's completed his 2nd sock, but
It's been a good amount of time since we've seen that. A couple days.
it's been a couple, I'm sure by now he's finished it, but just beautiful work. And then we also watched
Sweet Tea No Shade.
Sweet Tea No Shade. You get to meet
That
the
was a fun
boys,
one.
Scott and John.
That was a fun one.
I just love them.
That was a really fun one.
They're great fun to watch. Their interaction, the love between them, and their love-hate relationship with knitting is, their presentation is so much humor, so much love. I just enjoy them to death, and I think you caught Scott's bag addiction.
I did. I really... 4 bags in 6 hours with non-stop work. I really think I did.
I think if there were more fabric, you would have kept going.
I would have.
We need to make one
might
very
have
large
been-
drawstring bag to put him in for the plane trip home.
Might have been doing more. Might have done more today.
And we did post some photos up on Instagram of the projects as he did them. If you are interested in getting the general formula for how the square bottom reversible drawstring bags are done, I'd be happy to try to explain it to you. It really is not that complicated, but there may be some diagrams I'll draw out to send you. So if you're interested in knowing how we accomplish those bags, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll send you an answer to your questions.
And at the end of the day, this is all the fabric we had left.
And we had a half a yard of that, we had a total of a half a yard of that, and we had a 1/4 yard of the orange. And yeah, we used all but that. Square inches, nothing left. I think it went really well.
It was fun.
I'm super proud of the way they came out. You did just a great job.
A lot of bags. It was a lot of fun. This seemed, the patchwork one was a little bit challenging, because this was the last one that I did, and there are so many different seams and just craziness happening on the inside of it that it got really challenging to do. But it was fun.
Not quite sticks and string, huh?
No. But everything matched up pretty nicely, which
It
is
all
awesome.
lined up beautifully.
So,
Well, I think that's everything.
yep,
Brilliant. Well, thank you.
it was fun.
And thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I will see you next week. And maybe you'll see Sam next year.
Hopefully.
when he's back. Thank you. I love you all. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.